So, folks, we have to talk about this report put out by the Handbasket, reported by Marissa Kabas, who has been doing some digging. And she came out today with a piece titled Exclusive Political Operative Behind Graham Platner's Rise, Accused of Sexual Assault. Now, many of you will have seen the interview with this guy. This guy is Daniel Moraff, and he's one of the political operatives who was instrumental in the making of Graham Platner. In the process of reporting on this story, Kabas uncovered an allegation that she believes is credible against Daniel Moraff. And it's worth noting that his spokespeople say, of course, any suggestion that he committed a criminal offense is false and without foundation. It's not good. And I'm inclined to believe this one specifically because, one, like Marissa Kabas has been doing incredible work. She's consistently been doing some of the best journalistic sleuthing in the biz when it comes to the political beat. On top of that, she is not backed by any kind of major news network, right? Like, if she gets sued for libel for this, she's got no one. She's got herself and her facts. Reporting on this in this way tends to mean if she's good at her job, and I do believe she is, she's got the receipts. In this piece, I'm gonna link it here because you all should click on it and read it in full. In this piece, she goes over Moraff's history, going through politics in the different places he's lived in, his involvement with DSA. At one point, she talks about him portraying himself on dating apps as a writer for Clickhole, though Clickhole did not confirm or deny his working there, did not respond at all to that, outreach on whether or not he actually worked there. This focuses on a past relationship that Moraff had with a woman who goes in this piece under the pseudonym Natalie. Let's just jump into this here. Her first in-person impressions of him didn't match her expectations. It just seemed like the way he was speaking was very erratic, Natalie told the Handbasket. The first time she's spoken to the press about her experience with Moraff. The way that he moves is very quick, it's hard to keep him focused, and so that was a little jarring. Later in this piece, she says, she talks about how she had negative experiences with him. In particular, she details this. Their relationship was casually moving along when one evening at her apartment, Natalie said Moraff locked her in her bedroom for 10 minutes or so by holding the door shut from the outside. When he finally let her out, Natalie said Moraff was laughing and claimed he did it as a joke, but to Natalie, it was anything but funny. Though Natalie said no sexual violence occurred that evening, it left her shaken and made her regard Moraff with caution moving forward. Natalie confirmed she was the partner the Pittsburgh DSA member had anonymously referenced about being locked in a room. And at this point, we then get to the story of the sexual assault. So trigger warning for that for those of you watching. Despite the disturbing incident on their previous date, Natalie agreed to see Moraff again. This time they were at his apartment, and as things got intimate, she grew increasingly uncomfortable. They'd had sex before, she said, but in previous encounters, she had started feeling concerned that the things he was becoming interested in were escalating to things that I wasn't comfortable doing, and I wasn't sure when or if I was going to be able to stop that. Despite her telling him no multiple times, Moraff proceeded to have sex with her without her consent. It was the most disconnected from my body I had ever felt, Natalie recalled. This is then backed up with contemporaneous accounts with friends who the Handbasket also interviewed. And all of this is really only coming to light again because Moraff gave an interview, like an on-camera interview, which is odd for operatives like him to do. But him doing that interview put his image out there, and he was recognized by people who knew Natalie, and Natalie then came forward to the Handbasket. I mean, it's disturbing for sure. And it's one of the reasons why I do want to say, as somebody who has made it a part of my political existence here, doing what I do want to make something clear about when you get involved in politics. If you get involved in your local Dems or your local DSA, a big part of that is meeting other people and building community. And of course, one of the ways that like can form is also into romantic relationships. We've talked a lot about how getting involved in DSA or getting involved in your local Dems gives you more people to interact with, expands your social circle by default, and like can make you lifelong friends. But there's also the element that like there are predatory people that inhabit these spaces sometimes. That's true, by the way, for, you know, any political spaces. People will try and take advantage of the positions they have, or the power that they may have, or the social connections they have in order to leverage this kind of sexual power. It's something to be aware of. And it is something I think that is under talked about in progressive spaces, because I think a lot of people tend to try and assume, oh, we're all on the same page with this. You know, the men are feminists. You know, the women are empowered, and like therefore we don't need to have blunt discussions about relationships like this because everyone's a little bit more enlightened. But I do think that that can be weaponized by bad faith actors or by people who think that they're doing the right thing, but, you know, on a large scale, but then in the moment take advantage of their power. And that is something that I think needs to be reckoned with. It is one of those things where, and this happens, by the way, not just in like, you know, DSA circles or Democrat circles or Republican circles or, you know, communist circles or, you know, what have you. Like this happens in a lot of different social structures where that power gets abused. You know, Caleb Maupin had like a whole thing come out against him a while back with CPUSA. There's been a lot of this around the periphery when we're talking about, especially about this case in connection with Graham Platner. There is an element here of a certain kind of guy downplaying other men's shitty behavior in an effort to also downplay their own. I don't have like a solution to all of this.
Caleb Maupin?
Yes.
The Borgar King?
The Borgar King. Borgar. Yes, that one. So it's all of this being said, like you gotta make sure you're still taking the proper precautions to keep yourself safe when you are out socializing, when you get involved and get organized. Because none of this is a call to stop getting organized. It's merely a reminder that the kinds of social defenses you have when you are going out to like a bar or a club, those are similar social defenses that you should have when going to your meetings and your social hangouts, because they serve a purpose both in the general public, but also in places like this. You know, don't leave your drink unattended. You know, bring a friend with you to like watch your back if you can. Like all of that is, I think, good to do. And this isn't to say that anyone is to blame for being victimized. What it is to say is that there needs to be more frank conversations about how to keep one another safe in our socializing, in our camaraderie. It is one of those things where I am shocked by this, but I'm not surprised. If you know what I mean. It's one of the reasons why I think like the Me Too movement should have never fizzled out. It's because having conversations about sexual violence, about consent, those are always incredibly important. And they're no less important when you are organizing politically. And I think that sometimes we can lose sight of that, especially if we are really, really excited to meet a group of like-minded people who, share our thoughts when it comes to like, oh yeah, we should have democratic worker co-ops and such. It can be really easy to slip into thinking, oh, none of these people would ever take advantage of an unjust power structure. None of these people would ever hurt me. And that's not always the case, sadly. Folks, do make sure you are keeping yourselves safe and make sure you're looking out for other people. Make sure you are paying attention to the red flags. Make sure you are doing what you can to keep yourself safe and the ones you are in community with, building this movement with, make sure you're keeping them safe too. And always, always, always get consent. So, all that being said, folks, I do think people should read this entire thing. I'm going to link it again. There's a whole lot more in there. But it is unsurprising, I suppose, that one of the political operatives behind Graham Platner has a credible sexual assault allegation against him. And credit to Marissa Kabas for getting wind of this and having the bravery to publish it and the skills to back up her reporting. All that being said, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And folks, do consider, despite everything I said, getting involved in DSA and getting involved in your local Dems. Make sure you're taking all of the precautions. Make sure that you are keeping an eye out for the kinds of people who would take advantage of you or the folks in the group. And we still have to organize. We still have to organize. Always, always, always. With that being said, join your local Dems, join your local DSA. If you need help, join our Discord. Reach out to Gamergy for help with DSA. Reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.